John Lewis Gaddis, on Grand Strategy. Embark on a journey through the pages of On Grand Strategy by John Lewis Gaddis as we explore the characteristics of exceptional leaders and the delicate balance between two contrasting archetypes, the fox and the hedgehog. As you delve into the summary of this enlightening book, uncover vital lessons from history about effective leadership, adaptable decision-making, and the perils of short-sighted ambitions. Learn from the successes and failures of leaders such as Xerxes, Lincoln, and Napoleon, and understand the importance of having both fox-like and hedgehog-like instincts when navigating the complex world of strategy and politics.
The Hedgehog and the Fox, the Ideal Leader. The book discusses how an ideal leader should be a combination of both hedgehog and fox characteristics and not at the extreme ends of the spectrum. According to Isaiah Berlin, writers can be categorized as either hedgehogs or foxes. Hedgehogs see the world as revolving around one central idea, while foxes see the world as complex, with various contradictory aspects. The author explains that this analogy can be extended to leaders in terms of their decision-making patterns. Hedgehog leaders are highly driven and single-minded, while fox leaders are more cautious and see all the obstacles in their way. However, the ideal leader should have a healthy mix of both hedgehog and fox characteristics, since leaders who are too cautious or too bold may fail to make the right decisions. The author then discusses the story of King Xerxes of Persia and his advisor Artabanus, who represent two different types of leaders. Being a fox, Artabanus was cautious and saw many potential pitfalls in the invasion of Greece, which he advised against. Being a hedgehog, Xerxes was single-minded and bold in his decision-making, which resulted in the exhaustion of his army before reaching the Greek soldiers. While Artabanus may have been correct in this instance, leaders who are always cautious like him may never make a move. Abraham Lincoln is presented as an example of an ideal leader who was determined to get the 13th Amendment passed to abolish slavery. Lincoln pursued a variety of angles, including bribery, flattery, and lies, like a fox, to achieve his goal. The book concludes that the ideal leader is part hedgehog and part fox, as they can assess all the different angles while still being able to take determined action. Prediction experts, foxes versus hedgehogs. The fox-hedgehog analogy, introduced by Isaiah Berlin, became more than a parlor game when political psychologist, Philip E. Tetlock, used it to conduct a significant study on expert opinions. Tetlock found that foxes, individuals who use diverse sources of information and are humble enough to consider all facets of a situation, were far more accurate at making predictions than hedgehogs, who rely on simplification. Hedgehogs were found to be less adaptable and less likely to doubt themselves, but were often popular figures in the media since their message was more easily understood. Experts' political leanings, optimism or pessimism, and other personal characteristics were insignificant compared to whether they identified as a fox or hedgehog. In conclusion, Tetlock's study showed that adapting a fox-like mentality could lead to better decision-making, particularly in complex fields such as politics. Gaining and maintaining power. The key to great leadership lies in self-assessment and strategic thinking. By adapting to their limitations, leaders can find the best way to achieve their goals. Take Octavian as an example, who won over Rome's army by paying bonuses to loyal troops rather than fighting battles. He also shared leadership with more experienced politicians, knowing that this was better than nothing. Gradually, he gained power and eventually became Rome's first emperor. On the other hand, Napoleon's power grab through war led to his downfall, as his prior victories had made him overconfident and blind to reality. Leaders should avoid waging war to gain power and glory since it can prove catastrophic. Adaptable leadership breeds success. The success of a society depends on the adaptability of its leadership. A homogeneous and unadaptive leadership can lead to collapse, while a diverse and adaptable leadership leads to prosperity. This is evident in the differences between the British and Spanish colonies in the Americas. Elizabeth I's delegated leadership led to a diverse and adaptable government, ready to meet the unique problems of each town and city, while Philip II's uniform leadership left his colonies susceptible to rebellion and adversity. The U.S. prospered after gaining independence due to the complexity of its system of leadership, while the collapse of the Spanish Empire left a dangerous power vacuum in South America, resulting in fragmentation rather than unity. The success of a society depends on its leadership's ability to adapt and address the concerns of its people. Leadership strategies and the Fox-Hedgehog concept. The Fox-Hedgehog concept, while useful, oversimplifies leadership. Instead, successful leaders balance both characteristics. Examples from history show that leaders who prioritize short-term gains can inadvertently strengthen future enemies. For instance, during World War I, U.S. support for Russia weakened their leaders, led to a successful Bolshevik revolution, and ultimately caused the Cold War. Conversely, Franklin D. Roosevelt recognized the importance of long-term thinking when he recognized the USSR as a country in 1933, strengthening their alliance during World War II. FDR balanced his unwavering plan to defeat Germany and Japan with small, strategic maneuvers. Successful leaders balance the fox and hedgehog strategies to achieve their goals.
Upon reaching the end of this compelling summary of Ayn Grand's strategy, take a moment to reflect on the significance of striking a harmonious balance between fox-like and hedgehog-like leadership characteristics, in order to achieve one's strategic goals. Recognize the importance of viewing the world with a multifaceted perspective, being adaptable in the face of ever-changing circumstances, and keeping long-term outcomes in mind when making decisions. Let the book's profound wisdom about leadership and strategy seep through, serving as a guiding compass in your own journey towards effective leadership and personal growth.